Hello, it's Friday, my friends. I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and today, Wizards of the Coast have announced that they're finally going to reprint Fetchlands, or should I say more accurately, the enemy-coloured Fetchlands. In a move that suggests they care about the Eternal formats and the players playing the Eternal formats like myself, Blake from Wizards of the Coast joined Tolarian Community College over on the Professor's YouTube channel to talk about Chandra's spellbook that's coming out, which has a cool Past in Flames variant in it, as they announced, and more importantly and more excitingly, the reprinting of Fetchlands. I'm not looking to steal his clicks. The video will be linked in the description below, in the cards, in the end screen. Go check it out. There's some great high-res zoomed in footage looking at the cards and their new art. The new art is sick. Each one of them is themed to a particular plane. The Marsh Flat set on Lorwyn is beautiful. Seb McKinnon's done some of the art. John Avon has done some of the art. So the art and the visual design of these things, 10 out of 10. I cannot criticize that. So go check out the Professor's video. So even Christine Sprankle is back doing a skit with him, so that's good too. However, ultimately, this product, the announcement of this product and the product itself, I'm kind of pissed off about. First of all, I had this idea to make these t-shirts that I was actually in talks with a friend getting the composition done up to release this merch for myself, and now they're fucking reprinting them, so I can't sell t-shirts that say reprint Fetchlands, you cowards now, can I? So they've even fucked up my livelihood, fuck. So the Fetchlands are coming back and they're going to be available for your local game store. So that's a big positive. The fact that they're going to be available through your local game store means that Wizards are willing to support them and they're not just caring about the big ticket stores like Amazon's and Target's and actually helping out the little guy who lets us play Magic at their stores. It's going to be available through a Secret Lair, but not a drop series, more an Ultimate Edition or some such nonsense. It's just like a really big Secret Lair box, like a novelty fucking suitcase. Honestly, check the video out. It's weird how big this box is considering it has 5 cards in it. That's right, it's not a full set of the 10 fetches. It's not a play set of any of the fetches. It's one of each of the enemy coloured fetches in a box that's novelty sized. Don't understand why the box is so big. Well, actually, I kind of do. It's to justify the price. You see, this thing's going to be like $160 upwards. Now, there's no MSRP, so like Wizards of the Coast aren't saying it has to be that price, but they did say it'd be around, if not more, than the Commander Anthologies, which retailed at $160. Those were 4 decks, 100 cards per deck, 400 cards with reprints and other things in them for that price. This is 5 cards in little plastic cases inside a fucking suitcase. And why it's called a Secret Lair, I don't really understand either, because let's be honest, Secret Lairs were like $50 at most before, and now we're getting a 5 card set for 160 or more. I was going to take this bit out of the video. I paused there. That was not in my script to pause and play with my beard. I just want you to... I want my disappointment to be palpable. I want you to be able to chew on it. Because you're going to need something to get sustenance from when you spend all your money on fucking cards like this. This is absurd. So to confirm again, this is not the MSRP. Wizards of the Coast don't have MSRP anymore for some reason that I don't really understand. Instead, this is just conjecture or discussion from Blake saying it should be up, you know, around that price point. The problem is that means that it could be more, much more. Bearing in mind this is being sold at stores, and whilst I think supporting local game stores is something Wizards of the Coast should be doing, as we saw with Brawl decks, when things are in like high demand and have a low quantity, supply and demand, capitalism takes over and these things get gouged or just fucking hiked in price. The article that Hipsters linked to over on Twitter, that Mega Churve told me about my Discord, actually mentions there's going to be 10 copies per LGS total. So yeah, we're looking at a Brawl deck scenario again, but with much more desirable cards. And the thing is, I believe there is scope and there is room for whale hunting or collector or enthusiast expensive style product stuff. I myself treat myself when I go to GPs and buy little expensive cards to go in my Commander deck. Some people can afford to do that. The problem is that the reprinting of the Fetchlands, and the reason that I've been clamoring on about it for the last couple of months and made videos about it, is because we're not trying to make them an enthusiast item that you can buy and pimp out your deck with. We're trying to make them accessible, surely. surely we're trying to make them accessible. So, minor gripes about naming aside, because this isn't Secret Lair. I mean, what the... Actually, go back to that. Why are they calling it Secret Lair? Because names and words mean things, right? Like, we started calling everything Legends, we started calling everything Mythic, and now we're calling everything Secret Lair. Will there be a tournament called Secret Lair soon? What the ever-loving fuck? So let's focus on my biggest frustration, which is that idea of accessibility. I know I'm jumping back and forth, but I guess I'm animated. I mean, it's an exciting announcement, right? When I saw the title of the professor's video, I was like, oh, hot damn, I'm looking forward to this. And then I sunk when I realised it was a massive Secret Lair. I want people down the game still to be able to draft and open up these things to sell them off for some cash to buy more boosters, or trade them for expensive cards they want for their EDH decks, or put them into their EDH decks, right? Like, Fetchlands shouldn't be these expensive things that differentiate players with less money. They should be tools that we can all play, because fundamentally mana bases are the most important part of Magic, so why not let people have accesses to them? Accesses to them? I'm so animated, I'm fucking fumbling my words. Instead of making them more accessible, we're now making them into this desirable alt art, like, badges of, look at my expendable income. So instead of my opponent being like, oh, I can't actually afford any Scald and Tarns or Misty Rainforests or whatever, they look across and say that I've got these special ones that were only unique, only 10 available to them in my town and cost me $160 to get hold of. And they're like, oh, I guess I can't afford the normal ones or the special ones. Many people will say that Wizards of the Coast don't owe the user base shit. And this is about companies in general. Companies don't care about us. And I get that, right? But ultimately, if you want your game to survive, and you want your community to thrive, and you want your PR to be good, looking after your user base is one of the things you can do to, well, do all those things. I genuinely believe there is space in this game for the Whale Hunter products, the Mythic editions, and the Throne of Eldraine collector boosters and all that crap, right? And there's space for us to play. This bit here should have these unique art things, right? But this space here, the place where we play, needs those cards to be affordable. They need these cards to be put into, I don't know, mass-produced standard sets, for example. So that brings me to my next point. And let's be honest, and let's be as transparent as possible. Blake did say in the video, categorically said, that the Fetchlands will be available through your local game store in some other capacity later in the year. In what capacity? We don't know. We don't know if it's draft. We don't know if it's going to be sealed products. We don't know if it's another version of this. We're just going to get the other fetches, another $200 fucking box.
But it's also in this really cool display box, which we'll show off. That's meant to display, you can have it display the Fetchlands, you can put 5 other cards in there. There are hard cases to keep it looking nice.
What we do know though, the only information they would give us in this announcement of an announcement essentially, was that they're not going to be in a standard booster. Now we know from Shocklands that the one way you make cards cheaper, especially cards like Shocklands that are fundamental building blocks of your mana bases for Modern, Pioneer and Commander, the only way you'd really do that is through reprinting them multiple times. I remember the days when I could not afford Shocklands because they were too expensive. I was young, I was working my first job, and the cards were astronomically expensive. And I remember when RTR came around and the price of those Fetchlands dropped to half of what, and I could open them in boosters. And how much that made me engage with the game. In some ways, that was one of the factors where there's like a click moment where I'm like, I think this game is like one of my main hobbies now. It got me. By the fucking balls, it got me. But instead, we're not going to get them in the standard boosters. Now, there is design, like, decisions and choices around that. We've talked about this in my previous video in Defense of Fetchlands, where I argue that I don't think it's much of an issue, but I'm not a game designer, and to be honest, Wizards of the Coast do, for the most part, keep the game rolling in a smooth way, so I'm going to trust them on this, that Fetchlands... Sorry, my dog's chewing a slipper. Yeah, I'm watching you. Where was I? Okay, yeah, designers. There's argument for why it can't be in standard, and I talked about that a lot in the Defense of Fetchlands video. So let's say they can't put them in Zendikar 3, Rise of the Zendikari. Sure, fine. But the problem is that the sets you can put them in, Commander Legends, Modern Horizons 2, Modern Masters 5, 4, whatever it will be when they inevitably bring up Masters, and mark my word, they will. I bet there'll be a Masters set this year, 100%. I put money on it. Those sets will be premium priced, less opened, and therefore they won't bring down the price like we've seen with Shocklands. We even saw it in Modern Masters 3. The fetches didn't get cheap enough, A, they haven't been reprinted enough, and B, the packs were too expensive. Or maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised. Maybe Commander Legends will come out and it'll be priced like a normal draft set, and we'll have fetches in them. And it'll be the most successful draft set of all time, because drafting Commander ends up being really fun. Maybe that's what'll happen. Stranger things have happened at sea. My final frustration is that this product all but admits that Wizards of the Coast are fully aware of and will take advantage of the singles market. They pretend the secondary market doesn't exist. They say they don't acknowledge it, but here we have 5 Fetchlands in a box, and they're selling $160. 5 singular cards. Is this the most expensive singular card 5-card set we've ever seen? Is it? Is there a Vault product or anything that's been more? No, this is literally the most expensive, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I just realized this midway through. I had a script with notes, but this might be the most expensive collection of cards they've ever sold. And we said that Mythic Edition things were like probing how far they could go. Well, here it is. There's not even a booster box. If they had like a selection of boosters for the new Zendikar set or something inside it, fine, but there's not. It's just 5 cards. Currently on Goldfish to buy 1 Verdant Catacombs, 1 Skeleton Tarn, 1 Marsh Flats, 1 Arid Mesa, and 1 Misty Rainforest. TCG average, I guess, is what Goldfish pulls from. $276. So actually, to get 1 of each of the fetches, it's kind of a good deal. Honestly, if you don't own the fetches and you wanted them, perhaps buying 4 of these is just cheaper than buying a playset of each of the fetches. And whilst that's kind of good from an abstract consumer perspective that you can just go out and buy it on your own merit, it's kind of gross from the perspective that they won't address the supply issue, right? Like, the demand for these is there, the supply isn't, and this is not going to increase the supply enough. If I said to you a week or 2 ago that Wizards of the Coast were going to allow stores to sell Fetchlands that Wizards have printed with new art, and they're going to give every store 2.5 playsets to sell, you'd think I was fucking mad, wouldn't you? So to summarise, I'm glad they're reprinting them. The new art is beautiful, the design is great, the concept of different planes, and getting artists like John Avon and Seb McKinnon involved is fantastic. Like I said, the Marsh Flats itself I love, and maybe one day I'll pick up 4 of them when they're available in some way that isn't grossly expensive. Click the video's description below in the description to watch Prof's video. There's also mentioned that when you buy the Secret Lair Summer Drop, like group drop, you'll get 1 Fetchland thrown into that later in the year. So that's nice for people who want to pick up that sort of stuff. And on the topic of Secret Lair, I just want to clarify, because people keep asking me, I got to spoil one of the first Secret Lairs, the Goblins one, and I liked it a lot. I've since bought the Women's International Day one, and I've bought the Thalia one, because I don't think Secret Lair is a terrible product. I just think there's probably too many of them being thrown in our faces. This, on the other hand, I will not buy. A, I don't need them, because I'm lucky enough to pick up my fetches when they weren't hideously expensive, and B, out of principle. I'm super glad that we know they're coming later this year. Like, we know Fetchlands are, because there was a period where I guess we just didn't know they're ever going to reprint. It's kind of what I said in my previous video addressing the whole Fetchland debacle. I just wish they confirmed they're going to be in a draft set, and I wish they confirmed that that draft set wasn't going to be super premium priced. Even just a minor markup on just normal standard boosters might be enough, you know? Like, what if I want it to be the Battle Bond pricing point, or the Conspiracy pricing point, because they were priced like standard sets. If they're not in a draft set and it's just another weird singles product sold to us, then we should just fucking riot at that point, because obviously I don't give a shit. So ultimately, I wanted to have some more positive things to say, but I'm more just frustrated by this product in multiple ways. I really hope that before May, when this comes out, we have an announcement of where these fetches are going to be in some other a supplemental product, and it's a way that will bring the price of them down so we can get older formats being more accessible to newer players and players with just less disposable income. And bearing in mind, I'm not saying I advocate that people should be just cracking boosters over and over and over to find these cards. I'm saying that if people are cracking boosters during drafts, get them, trade them away, sell them, the ecosystem gets healthier because more of them get into the supply, and then supply and demand means that the cost of the cards aren't extortionate. Gold and Tarn shouldn't be $70 to $100. That's just not where they should be. So here's the question, right? In some ways it's predatory, or in some ways it's controversial for people to be cracking packs to look for expensive singles, whether that be cracking packs just buying them off the shelf or during drafts. Some people would say it's akin to gambling or loot boxes. So, is it ethically more responsible for Wizards of the Coast to sell you those singles directly than having you crack randomized packs? I'm just interested what you think. If you've watched this far into the video, I appreciate it and I thank you. I hope I haven't been too neg. Tell me what you think of that question in the comment section below. Is it better to get rid of the randomized pack idea and just sell you the bloody singles, like almost like a living card game in some ways? Well, I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video and found it informative. There are links to the Professor's video, which will have a bit more detail and especially some more visuals on that thing. I hope my opinion didn't get you down too much. Let me know in the comments below if you think I'm full of shit or whether you just agree with me. Am I being too hard? Am I being too soft? Let me know, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Ta-ta for now.